Theater of the Mind Flip.
Welcome to Theater of the Mind Flayer, a D&D play podcast set in the homebrewed world of Jekyll. We've got 2 DMs for some reason, which can only mean twice the fun. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your time at
Theater of the Mind Flip.
Ayo. I forgot to start with an AO last time. We're back. We're back. Technical difficulties have been happening, as always. But we're back in Severe with Safirith. Back in the big blue bubble. Bear in the big blue bubble.
It's always better in a big blue bubble, baby.
It is, yeah. Boy in the big blue bubble. Boy and bear in the big blue bubble. That would be an interesting cage match.
I'm picturing, did you ever watch it was I think it was a Canadian kids show, so it might not have been on in Australia, but it was like a Bear in the Big Blue House.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I
with that dump truck ass of his trotting around.
And the like super happy moon.
Yeah.
And the little blue rat. Also, I found footage of it's somewhere on the internet, but of the 2 actors that play the like young bear and the little mouse puppet just having a full swearing match, and it is amazing.
I feel like, I mean, Sesame Street, like Muppets actually are probably the best at, staying in character with their bloopers. But yeah. I do like a good puppet blooper.
Oh, it's so, if I find it, I'll find it and I'll send it to you, because it's just like, he just turns to him and he's like, "You still coloring, motherfucker?" And he's just like, "Oh my God."
What's that fox? There was that fox and that woman, a British show with a fox and a woman. And same sort of thing, like they would just get into giggling fits, but because it was live, they just have to run with it.
Oh, this sounds very familiar, and
yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
We got time. This is the preamble.
Preamble.
We can't just go straight into the good stuff.
No, we gotta tease them a little bit.
Fox, woman, myth, anchor, anime. Let's go anchor.
Yeah.
No, that's giving me like Fox News. No, thank you.
Not what I wanted. Myth? No, it must have been. Because what was it? It's
Is it Basil Brush? It is Basil Brush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Say this to Luke, and he would have like instantly just like.
He doesn't listen to the podcast.
I know.
This will be broadcast on Spotify, and he still won't listen. Actually, he might be interested in this particular story, but we'll see.
That's true. Actually, this might, because he's not in it. This might be the one that he can listen to. Yeah. And then if he hears the shout outs that he's getting in my narrative, then then his ego will 100% force him to listen to it.
I don't remember if I left in the last episode before I sent it on to Caleb. I don't remember if I left in you saying that he owed you.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah, well. So,
cool.
We come back to Safirith in the bubble, having just kind of poked her finger through the little speaker holes in this dark cavern, this dark dungeon with the doors in front of you, the other half a dozen or so blue orbs housing other prisoners, and beside you, Kuhn, the dwarven woman in armor. There, both of you locked up, both of you having been questioned last session about various things by one individual or various individuals. I'll leave that up to the audience to decide. But as we come back, having kind of pulled your fingers out through the little grate between the 2 magical orbs, Kuhn decided to share a little bit about the war in Neodracht. Kuhn says to you, as she kind of sits cross-legged facing you, "How much do you know about Neodracht and the elves and the dwarves?"
I mean, I'll be honest, not a lot. I heard whispers, but, eventually we were living on the street, so we were just kind of worried about ourselves for a while. We weren't really tuned in to the larger world around us.
That's fair. There's an argument for remaining ignorant of the the larger world around you when you're too busy trying to survive. I understand that. Dwarves traditionally would worship a number of gods. Nuada, the god of war and warriors. Goivni, the god of smiths and healing. Dunatis, the god of mountains and peaks. Our current monarch, Queen Dendry Gallo, she worshipped, well, there's no other way to put it. She put love before anything else.
Love?
Yeah, you know, that warm and fuzzy feeling you get when you look at someone.
Yeah.
Wow,
that
that's
might be vaguely familiar.
That is a telling response. Yeah, I suppose.
Let's just say I haven't been too lucky with that feeling in the past. So
Right. Well, from a very young age, Queen Gallo had a secret suitor hidden to her parents, hidden to the dwarven community. You must understand that a dwarven princess has to hold certain values and have a certain public persona. This relationship, as it turns out, was with the the son of King Aloysius Colm, the Elven king, who's been in power for about 500 years now.
No shit.
Yeah. There was actually an incident in Thithlothland. Tough to say in my accent, but Thithlothland is the kingdom. Is the kingdom where King Aloysius.
No, say it. Sorry, I didn't hear it. Just say it one more time.
Thithlothland.
That's very good.
Thank you.
You only spit a little bit.
Will you say it back to me?
Thithlothland.
Not bad. Fifth. Lolth. Lond.
Like a Thithlothland. Sorry, I am doing your accent.
That's fine. I don't find it offensive at all.
You say that now. You didn't hear me speak for very long in it.
That's very true. Here in Thithlothland, the Princess Dendry Gallo, soon to be the Queen Dendry Gallo, was kind of found consorting with Aloysius Colm's son, and there was a great uproar. Some said it was just a reason to kick off war and land disputes, but basically what had once been shared mountains and lands, basically dwarves would live in the mountains, we'd live underground, and the elves would take the rest of the lands. The elves decided that was not enough, and they decided to take more. They began war around 200 or so years ago, and after a very organized hit on the Gallo family, leaving just Queen Dendry, she inherited the thrones due to an assassination, and she ordered all of us to take up arms, and that's basically what's been going on for a long time. There have been isolated incidents where what was originally between us dwarves and the high elves, the wood elves ended up getting involved after some nasty business in their forest there, and there was also an incident with the Underdark dwarves. Well, they're Underdark dwarves now because we were underground, and the drow seem to have gotten involved as well, and a large portion of our underground kingdom was destroyed from below, kind of dropped into the Underdark proper.
Jesus.
Yeah, it has been a harrowing battle that both sides have been fighting for around 200 years. So most of us have spent most of our adult life, most of us dwarves anyway, have spent most of our adult life fighting this. At the moment, the dwarven kingdom of Gathkazir. Oh, I can't even say it myself. Gathkazir.
Garkazir.
Yeah, it's kind of like you say Gach and try to put a TH at the end of it. Gathkazir.
Garkazir.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's close enough. Thithlothlund and Gathkazir.
What?
They're the two kingdoms, pretty much.
Who gave them their names?
I don't know. Ancient fucking dwarves, not some fantasy name generator.
Clearly, I mean, someone who had very good alliteration.
I think it was
chose
someone who
those
had
suckers.
high aspirations and expectations of their own pronunciation of it,
Um,
and only now are finding out that they're stumbling over every word they've written.
That's fair, you know. Mighty do the high fall.
Yes, mighty do the high fall. Basically, we have been fighting to defend ourselves from the encroaching of the elves. She looks back across the blue domes towards the elven gentleman you saw. Towards the back there, and she kind of leans into you and says, "Although I assume they have a different story."
Well, I don't know. I've only known a few half elves.
Oh, really?
The one most recently, he was from here. He was from Severe, not from Neodracht.
Lucky to escape the draft, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. I never really got to ask him too much about his family. He was, 12 Point.
We've heard of 12 Point, yeah. We've heard a lot about Queen Banrian and all that sort of stuff.
Secret society, cultish from what little I've heard about it. So, I don't blame him for being clam shut about it, but yeah, I don't really know too much about his history, and yeah, I guess I've never really asked too much about it.
Well, fingers crossed you'll get the chance to ask about it. Provided you get out of here.
It's true. Wait, so what happened with her lover? Her elven lover? Did he just turn his back on her and side with his family, or?
He's not been heard from since she was kind of run out of Thithlothlund, and since the assassination of her family. No one's heard or seen from King Aloysius Colm's son in 200 years.
Jeez. But she's still your queen.
Queen Dendrigallo is still our queen, yes, and what a queen. She has organized and saved countless many dwarven lives, a mixture of retaliation strikes, but mostly defense and pressing forward to make sure we don't lose what ground we have.
Do you think, do you think there'll be an end?
While King Aloysius Colm is alive, I strongly doubt it. And there have been whispers that King Colm and Queen Banrian are in some sort of cahoots. That she is helping his reign, essentially.
Yeah, that puzzle piece clicks together.
There's also been whispers that, the Elven-Dwarven War was started in order to draw attention away from the human kingdom, that, we were all once united in trying to get to Bocht, to get resources from Bocht, and this infighting was instigated to try and, let the Fionians or the humans get a leg up in that race. But old tales from long, long ago from many, many different sources. All I know
Have you heard?
Have I heard?
Oh, have you heard anything about Bocht recently?
No, honestly, no. I in part of my capture, I heard whispers of a fleet being sent out, a Severian fleet being sent out. I didn't know whether that was coming around the corner to Neodracht, or heading down to Fianna, or heading over to Bocht, but I've been quite isolated from the news for a long time now.
Yeah, fair enough. It's, yeah, well, I don't know what my place is in all of this, but I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not much of a diplomat.
Well, I mean, neither am I. I just do what I'm told with my regiment that I had, and now I'm here trying my best not to give up secrets that I assume they already know. You said yourself that you need to stick this out, that you need to see if they have someone you love. I have not prayed to Goivni in a long time. I wonder if I could pray for you, whether you'd permit me.
You do that for someone you just met?
I mean, I do it for a war that I don't believe in, so of course.
Well, hey, I'll take all the help I can get. That's very kind of you, Kuhn. Thank you.
She nods and kind of sits back down, and she closes her eyes and starts to mutter. You see that the insignias on her armor actually change. Make a religion check for me.
Okay. Do I have a religious bone in my body? Oh, wow. Apparently. That is... Didn't you miss how long it fucking takes people to figure out their roles?
Not
19.
at all. 19. Excellent.
Yeah.
With a 19, you would recognize that the insignias on the armor are dwarven and would relate to Nuada, the goddess of... Oh, god or goddess. Let me get this right. Let me get my pronouns right. The god of war and warriors. And as Kuhn starts to pray, you watch as they shimmer and change to the symbol of Goivni, the god of smiths and healing, knowledge, life. As they change, I need you to please roll a D100 for me.
Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. It's been so long. What is it? It's 2d10s, right?
Yeah, so if you've
And
got
then
the double-digit D10, that is the first number, and then the single-digit D10 is the second number. If you've only got two D10s, you need to assign a high number and a low number.
Never mind. Found. 63.
63. Excellent. You have just rolled for Kuhn's divine intervention.
Oh,
she sits there praying. After about a minute, she looks up and she says... Well, it was worth a shot, and I'm sure Goivni will be with you wherever you go.
Hey, I appreciate just the gesture. It means a lot, and I mean, I never used to believe in gods, but I've seen some crazy shit, so I'm now inclined to believe that there's a lot of stuff that we might not ever grasp. That doesn't mean it's not out there.
It's all part of the fun, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, do you know anything about the old gods?
Looks at you curiously. I'll make a religion check. Ooh. Where are we? Dirty 20.
Ooh.
She says...
Come on, give me some shit that I can dangle in front of the others. Tease them. I won't reveal it.
She says, from what I'm aware of, the old gods were driven out by the new gods. The new gods saw that the old gods were not doing things the right way or the way that they believed should be done. And there was a not so much a war as a stripping and a near instantaneous assault on the old gods from out of nowhere. And the old gods fell. With no more followers, with no more believers. Gods without followers and believers, gods without worship, are worthless. And that's how the new gods got rid of them.
But isn't it... I don't know. It seems like youth always thinks that their way is better than what they grew up in.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. All I'm going to say is that the new gods are the ones in charge of the world now. And I pray to a new god. Relatively new god, I guess. So, I can't comment on that, to be honest.
I mean, I can't comment either. I'm putting my faith in a pre-god.
A pre-god?
Yeah, he's like an uncooked chicken nugget. He's just like waiting to go, you know?
Is that really something you should be saying about your deity?
Well, I used to be friends with him, so I don't think he'd mind too much.
Right. Well, fingers crossed for your uncooked chicken nugget of a god.
I feel like he'd really hate me using that description of him. And so would another one of my friends, actually.
Well, but you know, they're not here, so you can be as politically incorrect as you like.
Yeah, you can be my true self. Never have to know. I guess that's prison does change you, huh?
Prison
or makes you go back to who you really are.
I think when it feels like you've got nothing to lose, you don't really care.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, just on the off chance, you're not my ex-girlfriend in disguise trying to get me to tell you everything I know, are you?
Is that your way of saying you look like an ex-girlfriend of mine, and you look like a future girlfriend of mine? Are you? Is that?
No.
Right.
No, it's not. Believe me. I think that's who's come to get me.
Right.
I think that's who's brought me here, and I think I might have already met with her. Although I didn't realize it until I was out of the room. Otherwise, I might have done things differently. But, I just figured I'd say it in case.
Is it one of those, like, if you ask an undercover cop if they're an undercover cop, they have to say yes?
Yeah.
Right. She has to say yes. I mean, even if I were her, I probably wouldn't say yes.
It's true,
but to dissuade any problems of yours, I am not your ex-girlfriend in disguise.
Yeah, and she's such a fucking show-off. I feel like she couldn't resist flaunting it a little.
Well, I can show off, and she jams her pinky into the little speaker hole, and you watch as just 4 globules of light, as she casts dancing light, just kind of poo, 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 appear between your 2 domes. She then kind of pulls her finger out from the hole, and they disappear. She's like, I mean, I've only figured out I could do that not that long ago. That in here, not that long ago. So,
that was very impressive.
Thank you.
You might have a future girlfriend spot after all.
I mean, I've got to get out of here first.
That's fair.
You've got to get out of here,
fair.
and we've got to find a place to meet up. So,
But I never thought I'd have a prison wife, so I really appreciate your company. Thank you.
what makes you think I'm the wife?
Oh no, I'm from an equal household, baby. We're both wives. Don't worry. Wife and wife. You're
Wife
fine.
and wife. Well, wife, if you ever make it out and make it to Neodracht, and if I make it out and make it back to Neodracht, if you head to a cheeky little mountain town not too far from where the river begins at the top of the mountain between the two, between Severe and Neodracht, there's a town called Nalbarum.
No bottom.
I mean, you don't have to roll the R like me.
I'm so sorry. I'm butchering your town, your accent, your name.
Nalbarum.
No bottom.
Correct.
At the head of the river.
Yeah, you follow the river up to the base of the mountain, and you can't miss it.
Great. It's a date.
Perfect.
If they don't flay us to death first, which fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, no flaying. As you kind of chat for a little bit, the day continues on. As the day continues on, Kuhn kind of does another couple of spells through the little hole there to show you, basically revealing that she is some sort of cleric. Some sort of cleric and the leader of a strike team. The dwarves know their faults and know their abilities, and typically the dwarves, rather than running out in numbers because they're slower and smaller, they tend to use smaller strike teams, and she's part of one of those many sneaky strike teams. As you're learning more and more from her, the day goes on. And as the day goes on, there is a kind of a sound at the door towards the late evening, and the door swings open. You would recognize the witch from before in a similar sort of Empire enforcer outfit rather than Empire Guard. Queen's Guard, Queen's Enforcers, Queen's Guard. As she steps forward, she says, "Right, you're being summoned."
I'll just stand up.
Bring your things.
Right. I'll turn to Kuhn before I go. And just like give her kind of a sad little wink and a salute and just say, I think this might be me.
She says, I'll be sure to pray for you tomorrow, and who knows, maybe we'll align.
Yeah, I hope so. Good luck, Kuhn.
Good luck, Safirith.
And I'll turn
the witch.
to the witch.
Yeah, the witch and the guy to her side there. This kind of tall, broad-chested pauldron, kind of making his shoulders even wider. They both place their hands on the blue orb, and it drops. As it drops, the tall, bulky male has a set of like iron cuffs that are joined at the center. Kind of your hands would be cuffed in front of you. Gestures for you to present your hands.
Oh, come on. We don't need that.
It is.
You know me. I'm good for it.
We know you. You are not good for it.
Yeah, fuck you.
No, thank you. Kind of cuffs your hands together. So cuffs your hands together. You are marched. He is holding you by the cuffs, kind of dragging you behind him. Arm behind him, your hands out in front of you. The witch is behind you. and you are marched out, back up these stone stairs to that strange. What was the art place? The fucking what's it called?
The Guggenheim.
The Guggenheim. Up through the Guggenheim. You are marched up through that kind of center point, past the interrogation room that you remember being spoken to in, and down the other side. As you're marched down the other side, you come to like a portcullis, and the portcullis kind of opens. You are marched out in the very dark evening light. There are multiple kind of torches and sconces lit and open. And as you're marched through this square, you feel like you would almost be in the center of a barracks as you're being marched through. And in this dark, moonless light, the flames flickering on the side there, shadows dancing, you are led across this square quickly and quietly. Make an insight check for me.
Okay. It doesn't look like anywhere that I would be familiar with.
No. You'd be familiar with the feel of you're essentially in some sort of hold, some sort of keep. But the walls are too high for you to see any surrounding, and there's no moon in the sky. There's no moon in the sky.
No moon.
It's tough to kind of navigate.
Okay, that's a 18 insight.
18 insight. This is a very quick, very quiet extraction without any prying eyes.
As we walk, I'll just quietly kind of whisper to the guard ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know you're taking me out of here, do they?
The appropriate people know.
Wow, so have you come to rescue me? Are you going to be my savior?
The witch behind says, I told you she was a sarcastic one. No, I get that now. He turns in the middle of the square and he says, listen, you are being summoned by someone extremely powerful. You are being saved a prison sentence. You should be grateful.
Depending who I'm going to see, I think I'd rather rot in prison for the rest of my life.
The dude, he kind of looks very frustrated and he says, really? Do you want that? Because I can put you back where you were. The witch says, easy, easy. She's kind of looking around, trying to keep the voices down.
Yeah, come on. You and me. I mean, I'm sure we'd have a blast down there in that prison brawl room. I'm sure they've got to have one underground fighting ring. Come on, you seem like the type of guy.
We are going to end this half of the recording with a intimidation or deception. I'll leave it up to you against his roll.
Okay. Yeah, I want intimidation. Ooh, 12.
12.
And there go my good rolls.
He huffs and puffs. As he huffs and puffs, the Blood Witch kind of places a hand on his arms and his eyes roll back for a moment, and then he kind of settles, some sort of like calm emotions almost. And she says, I'll lead, you follow. And she kind of takes a delicate hold of your cuffs, and he falls in step behind. As you are kind of pulled away by the witch, she leads you through another portcullis that does also open. That's the loudest sound you kind of hear out here. It's just a as it pops to the top there. They move quietly and quickly. Is there anything you'd like to do as they, in their kind of black and purple trim outfits, lead you away?
I guess, can I see anyone at the gate as it opens? Like, is there anyone visible?
Yeah, you can see that there are 2 spots for guards to stand on the inside and outside of the wall, and they are gone. But you would be able to look up to the left in what looks to be some sort of makeshift guard tower, and there appears to be a number of guards up the top there that seem to be operating the gate and possibly have been the 4 guards that would normally be at the front here.
Okay. Are they all in the same, like, kind of purple outfit?
Those guards are in more of a Queen's Guard outfit, so they have the more the more flamboyant, more purple than black. Purple's pretty much the way to tell here that it's Queen Banrian's kind of
personal
people. Yeah. So you've got the Queen's Guard that are in like full armor that's kind of adorned with purple with little bits of black. You've got the enforcers that are more of a stealthy black with kind of purple trim, and then you've got the arbiters like Alphonse, who are kind of more casual. Think of them as detectives. The enforcers as special forces, and the Queen's Guard as guards.
Cool. Yeah. No, I'll go along with them. Does it feel like, is there any like tingle from the handcuffs or anything that would indicate that they're magical, or do they feel just kind of like normal?
Go ahead and make a real quick Arcana check for me.
Yeah, give me that Arcana. Yeah. 15.
15? Only way to tell would be to try cast a spell.
Okay, I'll try and cast Mage Hand really subtly, just underneath my hands, like almost creating a shadow of my hands under the cuff.
I think your Mage Hand's invisible anyway, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, nice.
Yeah, because you got telekinetic. Excellent. You kind of start to puppet your fingers to form the Mage Hand, invisible Mage Hand, and whoop, it seems to appear.
Okay, cool. I'll just tuck that away in my brain.
Excellent. You are led out through the front of the gates of this stone structure, and as you're led out through the gates, you would see what looks to be the very edge of Oyer. You're essentially able to look in towards the west and see the enormous structure of Queen Banrian's castle standing proudly in the center of Oyer there. You're able to see the kind of the walls that surround Banrian's tower visible here over the top of the many other structures, a mixture between tiled and thatched roofs this far out, as Oyer slowly spreads out further and further and further. You would be able to see to the west of you, slightly further out, there is construction, and you gather you're on the very edge of Oyer in some sort of military stronghold that's been placed here. You're essentially between Oyer and the border of Neodracht, but far closer to Oyer, the sprawling city of Oyer. If you imagine perhaps the kind of like the map for Attack on Titan, there's a center point and then it sprawls out from there quite evenly, and that's kind of how Banrian's kind of expanded Oyer. You would see that on this freshly made kind of cobbled road that hasn't quite settled yet, it has that fresh bumps to it, it hasn't kind of sunken into the ground yet. You would see that there is a single black horse with one spot for a rider, and there is a two-seater carriage behind it. A very small, simple affair. The witch goes to the carriage and swings the door open, gestures for you to get in, as the other guy, the hunter, the other enforcer sits on the front there and grabs the reins of the horse, kind of unties it from a post, grabs the reins of the horse, looks up towards the guards and just gives a nod. As you glance back up towards the guards, you watch as just one of the guards just kind of nods and turns his back, and they're all kind of facing away.
Is the witch getting into the carriage with me?
She's holding the door open, waiting for you to step in.
I'll step in.
Duck your head and kind of sit on the hard bench with a very thin cushion.
Yeah.
She slips in after you and shuts the door.
Cool. Once the carriage starts going and like moving a little bit, I'm gonna try and cast Mage Hand and see if I can't rustle through her pockets and see if there's anything in there.
Okay. So your mage hand is invisible, but it still requires verbal and somatic elements. So as the carriage kicks off, that's right. You can make you're gonna make a stealth for me to get that done. But here's what happens. As the carriage sets off in motion, bumping around, you can see the kind of tassels of the curtains over the windows there, just kind of waving back and forth. She's sitting there. She looks over her shoulder. She looks at you. She says, "You're being very well behaved," and looks over her shoulder, and says to the enforcer at the front, "Do not speed. Go slowly. Take your time." And he kind of grunts, and the horse clops on, and you see yourself going closer and closer towards the city that you've avoided for such a long time. You go to cast Mage Hand.
I'm gonna try and make it look like I'm praying.
Okay. So that would be
like as I look at the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna like very quietly make it seem like I'm mumbling some kind of prayer. Does that change? Does that change it? Maybe I want to do stealth instead.
That would. I'll let you roll a stealth for this, but for next time, that would be closer to a deception check.
Okay.
But I'll let you stealth it this time.
Okay, come on, baby. Oh, 16.
16. Okay. You cast a mage hand, and she does not seem to notice.
Okay.
What are you doing with the mage hand?
Cool. So as I'm like looking out the window, I will be like studying, the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna kind of send my mage hand over and try and like get into her pockets when the carriage is moving or like bouncing a lot.
Yeah, you watch as you look out the window, the not freshly built, but the more recently built buildings are coming past. They're well built, but they do seem to be kind of cookie cutter. They have a
new
decent
build.
new build. Yeah, they've got a decent kind of slightly like between a regular pitched roof and a Canadian pitched roof, like not quite as ridiculously slanted as the Canadian, but still quite a pitched roof there. A mixture, like I said, between like thatching and tile, depending on who had enough money for what. And these are all kind of weatherboard. Timbers taken from a nearby forest, which would be on the border of Neodracht and where the river is, kind of Neodracht and Severe. You think back to Kuhn talking about the Wood Elves. As you trundle on past, if you'd like to go ahead and make a sleight of hand check, please. It will be at advantage because your mage hand, is invisible.
Well, not that one. Oh, that one. We will take the nat 20, baby, and
beautiful.
Add 3, so 23.
You see on her, she is wearing like a almost like a combat dress, like Bellatrix Lestrange kind of outfit.
Okay, the wrap dress.
Yeah. Okay. And you can see that there is like a number of. She's got like a pouch. She's got like a something that jingles, like keys or something. There's a couple of like a satchel that looks to have scrolls poking out the top of it. Describe to me what your hand does and how it pilfers whatever it wishes to take from her, and I'll tell you how much you get. You just keep going till I say stop.
Okay, I guess you mentioned like she has a lot. It's like a bundle of keys. Like it's not like one. I mean, I would hardly expect her to have like one golden key on her.
Yeah, it's a number of keys. It looks like it might be key to this carriage, key to your cuffs, maybe the key to a safe house of some sort.
Cool. Well, I am going to try and reach into her little pouch, of golden goodies and see if I get anything.
Okay.
I guess like anything magical.
Yeah.
That she would have on her. And then maybe I'll just try and go for the keys, one of the keys, just for fun, because I feel like if I took all of them, she would definitely notice. But maybe trying to get one or two and gambling and hoping that maybe I get something useful.
Excellent. Beautiful. You find as your mage hand dips on in, let me go ahead and roll something real quick. I just want to see what you get. Okay. The first thing your mage hand pilfers out looks to be some sort of like nice gold chain that seems to have a little piece at the front that has gold spilling out from a gem on the front of it. It looks to be some sort of headwear, and you're able to kind of fish that out.
Okay.
As you fish that out, you would also be able to snag a scroll as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a scroll as well. It's a nat 20. So you have some sort of circlet and some sort of scroll, some sort of second level scroll.
Okay.
When you get the chance to look at it, I'll be able to tell you. But right now, I doubt you'll be able to.
Nope.
As you fish those out,
investigate them.
you start to fiddle with the keys.
Yeah.
I will get you to roll a D100 once more to see what key you fish.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not going to tell you which is which.
That's fair. That's very fair. 16.
16?
Yeah.
Okay. You snag a key from the ring. You watch as the mage hand kind of slips the key around the ring and gets right to the end as she turns to look at you. She turns to look at you and the mage hand freezes. She says, "It's a beautiful city, is it not?"
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and I honestly never thought I'd see it again.
Well, you are lucky to see it again. You are lucky to be brought back. You are lucky to have been freed from the clutches of Queen Banrian. She is a benevolent leader when it comes to some of her favorite subjects requiring the use of her prisoners.
And yet you say that I was lucky to be freed from her clutches. Do you not? I'm confused.
I'm saying that your fate, should you have stayed there, would have been uncertain and most likely dreary.
Because I'm not one of her favorites. I understand. Are you one of her favorites?
No, but he that has employed us, he that supplements Queen Banrian's reign, he that has the favor of the Queen's enforcers, he is one of her favorites.
He that sells her tasty little weapons to wreak havoc on the rest of our world.
She kind of smiles. Not just her.
Oh, yes. I'm well aware. War is very profitable.
Indeed it is. You feel a nudge as your mage hand kind of drops a coin in your hand. Like, fuck! No, that's not what I wanted.
One coin.
It heads back over, kind of pops the coin back in her pocket, and then grabs the key and pops that in your hand now. Does ASL for "I'm sorry" invisible?
I forgive it and dispel it.
It gives you like an exaggerated "okay" right as you dispel it, like yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I managed to grab a scroll and a key and a circlet. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So like I guess while I was talking to her, I imagine that my mage hand just like stayed as low to the floor as possible and tried to do like a spy movie army crawl under the lasers across the floor of the carriage.
Yeah.
And then like snuck up the back of my legs so that you couldn't see any of the objects it was holding. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just gonna look back at her. So how is my grandfather doing?
She looks at you and she says, his criminal empire has grown. He seems happier and healthier than ever. And honestly, it's almost the point where he seems to be so prevalent in Oya that it's almost a legitimate business now.
Yeah, he's selling rackled tea cozies.
Yes, absolutely, actually. Rackled tea cozies, aprons, Wellington boots.
Yeah, well, he was always industrious, I'll give him that.
There was a rumor for a while there that he perished because he disappeared for a while. But he decided to make himself public not too long ago. And as a result, the Queen seemed to very quickly jump on board with his help. It seemed quite quickly that what was once some sort of criminal underbelly actually became legitimized by the government.
Well, when the criminal underbelly benefits the government, who are they to stop it?
As they always say, when the criminal underbelly benefits the government, who are they to say to stop it?
Yes, that old nutshell. Look, I'm tired.
She says.
So he didn't tell you where he disappeared to? I mean, you all are his loyal cronies, but geez, it doesn't sound like you're the favorite of anyone.
She kind of blushes a little bit. She says, we don't answer directly to him. We answer to his lieutenant.
Of course. So you haven't spoken to him recently?
I have not spoken to him in my life. My life?
So interesting to put so much faith into someone that you've never met.
She looks at you and she says, sometimes faith is all that is necessary. We get paid well. We get to do what we want. We have freedom to use the arcana we wish. The price to pay is loyalty. I'm happy to have both faith and loyalty in both Barris Rackhold and Queen Banrian. As you get into the city, you will see how much it has flourished, how beautiful it is, and how its sprawling borders only afford those on the outskirts more and more opportunity.
Beautiful for some, but not for everyone.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. She literally has a pet beholder called Beauty.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past her. And what if all of your loyalty is in a monster?
There are two different kinds of monster. There are the literal monsters that stalk the Shadowlands that we are protected from. The monsters in places like Bokt. And then there are people who are awarded the title of monster. Sometimes for horrific... Sorry, something just dropped on the floor. She looks down. You see her keys, that coin has dropped on the ground there. She's like, loose pockets, and kind of puts it back in her pocket there. She says, some are named monsters, given the moniker monsters, due to their acts, and some are unfairly called monsters by those who do not understand the ambition and the scope of what their plans are.
And what if their ambition and their scope is the death of hundreds of thousands of people?
If it's to save millions of people, then it is fine. A tough decision, but a necessary one. the cart trundles on. As it heads towards the city, you watch as the inner city gates come closer and closer. The buildings become larger and more extravagant, and indeed the refuse on the street becomes more and more plentiful. Odd that further out it is cleaner, further in it is dirtier. As you get closer to the inner gates, you see an enormous wall that's kind of erected around the inner city, and then another wall that would be around the castle. As you get towards the inner wall, the cart swings off to the left and kind of traces the inner wall a little bit and then curves back in on itself. As it curves back in on itself, the Blood Witch kind of bangs on the outside and says, "Pull past, we'll hop out, and then you can find a car park." As the cart comes to a stop, the witch kind of opens the cart and says to you, "We will be spending the night in a safe house and then walking through the gates. It's the only way in. I highly suggest that you keep your mouth shut if you know what's good for you, and if you know what's good for the lives of the people in your immediate vicinity at all times."
We're not going to the manor then?
Not today. We cannot get through the gates this late at night, regardless of who we are.
Fine. Fine by me. I'm just along for the ride, right?
Good. As you step out, she leads you to what looks to be a bunch of buildings very closely packed together. They seem to be two-story. They seem to be almost identical. And you can see that they have some weatherboards that are kind of warping and peeling out and tiles missing on their roofs. The gap between each of these buildings is no more than like 5 foot. You'd have to kind of turn to the side and shimmy through. And as you're led up to the front door, she grabs her keys from her hip. And she just kind of absentmindedly grabs one of them and pops it in the door, opens the door to a safe house. As the door opens, it is completely black and dark inside, and you would find as you step in there is a small living quarters, what looks to be a living room with a small fire, a small kitchenette to the back of that, and a set of wooden stairs that immediately head up to what you gather is some sort of upstairs bedroom. As you're led in, you watch as the cart kind of gallops away as he goes to find a car park. As he does, she kind of holds you by your cuffs and says, "We will go upstairs. The enforcer will be here shortly." And she leads you up the wooden stairs to a bedroom that is essentially just one queen-size bed that looks to have been made a long, long time ago. Like a cupboard, and what looks to be a single window that looks back out over the entrance. As you're led up, she kind of leads you over and sits you on the foot of the bed. Just takes 2 or 3 steps back and just crosses her hands in front of herself and kind of pops a hip and just stands there waiting.
Wow. Only one bed. It's a very forward way to broach the subject, but I guess we could sleep together.
She looks at you and she says, "You are not my type. Unfortunately, your coloring and your heritage are a little, let's say, distasteful."
Wow, you really don't want to be saying that kind of shit near my grandfather. You know that?
As you pointed out, I have not ever met or seen him, so I can say whatever I want.
That is very interesting. Don't like tieflings, but have no problem working for one.
She says, "The money is good. The benefits are good. And I can do things like this." And she is going to... Her eyes are going to roll back, and she's going to say, "You will sit quietly. You will sleep. You will speak only when spoken to, and you will obey our orders." And I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please. As she attempts to suggest you.
Motherfucker. Wiz, okay. 17.
Beautiful. You feel yourself guard against this spell?
As I feel myself guard against it, I'm going to go just slightly slack-jawed.
Excellent. I will get from you a deception or a performance check, please.
Okay.
Let me find her.
All right. Yeah. Let's do performance.
Okay.
I'm a performer after all. Okay, maybe not. 13?
13, okay. She has a -1 to her wisdom here, so I'm going to roll for that.
Amazing.
Here we go. Okay.
Oh, she probably got like a 20.
She looks at you.
Mm.
She kind of leans in close, and she says, all of you infernal creatures are the same. A mark, a poxy mark on these beautiful lands that the Queen has tried so hard to clean up. She kind of sits back, watching for a reaction, kind of nods to herself, satisfied.
Mm.
It's at this point that downstairs you would hear the door swing open, and she would call down and say, lock it! Door shuts. You hear it locked. And candles are lit as the enforcer comes back up. As he comes back up, they kind of trot downstairs, just a little bit down the steps, and you hear them chattering. We should get some sleep, some rest. One of us watch the prisoner, and first thing in the morning, make our way through. The Rackhold Syndicate has assured us that it will be safe traveling once we get through the guard at the gate. Good to know. I'll take first watch. She's under my control. There's a bit of silence. Understood.
While they're talking, I'm gonna try the key in my cuffs and see if it fits.
Excellent. Go ahead and make a sleight of hand for me.
Ooh, baby, come on. Oh, that is a 16.
16. They definitely fit, and you feel that you could pop them open if you wanted to right now.
Oh, amazing. I'm not going to do that, but
Okay.
I'm going to keep the key on me.
Excellent. You keep the key on you. She comes walking back upstairs as he heads downstairs. You hear
and in the meantime, I'm going to have like laid down on the like against the pillow, like not gotten under the covers, but just like laid back on the bed with my eyes kind of like half closed.
Excellent. She steps up. She doesn't say anything, but she steps up. She actually heads downstairs for a moment, and you're alone for maybe 15-20 seconds, and she brings up one of the wooden chairs from the dining area, kind of sits it so she can see both the bed and out the window at the same time, and she sits down. As she sits down and they begin their rest here, incredibly late at night, around, incredibly late for us, 11 p.m. For other people, that's absolutely fine. We are going to go ahead and leave our episode there.
Woo!
Theater of the Mind Flip.
Thank you for listening to Theater of the Mind Flayer. If you like what you heard, give us a like, give us a review, rate us 5 stars. If you want to hear more, follow us on Patreon for more exclusive content and extra goodies. And make sure you follow us on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Theater of the Mind Flayer or at MindFlayer_pod. Thanks.